Congressman Graves, great to talk with you.
Well, thanks for letting me join you today.
As you heard, the House Oversight Committee has set to vote next Wednesday on whether to hold the Attorney General in contempt of Congress. You have been very outspoken about all of this, and just like what we heard today from Senator Cornyn calling for Holder to resign, you too have said he needs to go. Do you feel at this point, after all this time, Holder really has left you no other choice?
I believe that to be the case. I mean, it's been well over a year now that members of the House and the Senate have been asking for the Attorney General to provide information as to the Fast and Furious debacle that occurred, and in each and every stop he has refused or blocked or ignored or not answered the questions. And, you know, the American people need to have a full trust in the Attorney General of the United States, and right now I believe that trust is lacking.
Yes, and I think there's a lot of senators today that would agree with you, as well as in the hearing just recently. But, you know, Holder sat there today just like he has in the past. You said he has no intention of resigning, and he actually tried to take credit for putting an end to the gun-walking tactics used in Fast and Furious. And he brings up, as we've heard in the past, Operation Wide Receiver, saying that under the Bush administration, they did absolutely nothing. The AG did nothing. But how can you even compare the two?
Well, this is a classic of anyone from the Obama administration, always wanting to point fingers and blame another administration. But the facts are clear, and this has happened under his watch. And there has been nobody, not one person in that department, nor the Attorney General himself, who has accepted nor taken responsibility for the death of a Border Patrol agent. And that is why Darrell Issa and the Oversight Committee have been very diligent to get to the bottom of this, and Eric Holder owes the American people an answer.
Yeah, and you know, as I said, how do you compare the two? I mean, you've got 300 guns that went across in Operation Wide Receiver, perhaps. We're talking thousands of guns in Fast and Furious. We have a dead Border Patrol agent, Brian Terry, and the Attorney General himself has said, we are all going to be paying the price for this, for Operation Fast and Furious, for years to come.
Well, and clearly there is not a comparison that he wants to draw, and all he's trying to do is divert attention or blame or responsibility elsewhere. But he is the Attorney General of the United States, and he's been under question after question after question in these hearings, and has refused to answer the questions or give any information as been requested or subpoenaed by members of Congress. And as a result, you'll see a vote next week on Wednesday, as you mentioned, that will hold him in contempt and allow the members of Congress to voice their opinion as to his actions and the responsibility he's taken.
And as you mentioned, the vote next week, a majority vote is needed in the committee. Obviously, Congressman Issa seems to be pretty confident. He has the vote support from both sides of the aisle. Then it goes to the full House. What are you hearing on this?
Well, we hear from our constituents a broad support for this vote taking place and allowing this to be debated openly, and the facts of and the merits of this contempt to be aired. And then members of Congress are, as you mentioned, it's bipartisan, are very interested in having this resolved and brought to a head and accountability taking place. And so next week we'll see that process begin. But I have to say, you know, the Republican leadership has been very forceful in requesting the information, has been patient in waiting for it to being delivered, and yet the Attorney General has once again delayed and has been non-responsive, and of course, in many cases has blamed others. But it is time for him to take responsibility, and next week that process will begin.
You know, and Holder sat there again today. He's talking about how he's willing to make a compromise when it comes to some of these documents. He's offering to sit down with the Speaker and with Chairman Issa, but, you know, he points out the fact, he says, you know what, I need a willing partner. Obviously, he doesn't think Issa has been a willing partner. Would you say Holder has been a willing partner when it comes to answering the questions he's been asked time after time after time?
Well, clearly, I would say he's not been a willing partner to answer the questions that are asked. He answers a lot of questions; they just don't happen to be the ones that are asked. You know, so I think Chairman Issa and the Republican leadership, as well as Democrats, have been very patient and have been a willing partner through the process. And when someone is non-responsive, you will see members of Congress, rightfully so, taking the next steps that are necessary in order to provide the trust and protection that the American people expect from their Attorney General's office.
And Congressman, you look at Fast and Furious, you look at these national security leagues they were talking about today, you look at what's happened under this administration, one scandal after another. Would you say and agree with what Senator Cornyn said today, that our national security, our safety as a country, has been jeopardized more than he's ever seen in any other administration?
Well, that's certainly his opinion, and I don't know that I disagree with that in any way. But in addition to that, we see that the Department of Justice suing states as well, with the voting rights issues, and in addition to Fast and Furious, in addition to all the various things that have occurred over the last several months, if not years, under this administration. And that's why I think you're going to see a continued effort by both parties to make sure there's accountability and responsibility is taken, and that the American people can have the trust and responsibility in the Attorney General's office, regardless of which party is in control of the White House.
All righty. Well, we'll see what happens next Wednesday, and then it's on to the House. You think you'll have any problem there? Doesn't look like it.
I don't think there'll be any problems there.